Today I posted a blog post about my online client Kelly, who lost 164 pounds during the pandemic, which is absolutely mind-blowing, incredible results. She definitely turned lemons into lemonade and took advantage of a very unique time, both in her personal history and, our world history, to focus on her health and really reclaim her wellness. So she experienced a ton of results. She not only lost 164 pounds, she also ran a half marathon, and she also changed a lot of her own biometric signs of health. Her resting heart rate went way down. All of her blood work is so much better. She is a much healthier woman than she was before the beginning of the pandemic. And in fact, she was so successful. The reason we actually took a break was because she needed to stop to have skin surgery and then recover from it, which is a whole other story that I could go into. But she did a great job of taking care of herself, putting herself first, and doing all of this for her own health and not to please other people. And she says that was the key difference. But the thing that I want to dial in on is the idea of the food choices that she made. So the whole time, Kelly did not follow a diet. And in fact, she self-reports that diet is not even a word in her vocabulary. And when I looked at the changes that she made, I can really see that what she's calling healthy swaps, which is a really good way of looking at it, is really what I call systems. So she made system changes. It's like she changed the settings on certain foods that she was eating. And without really following a strict diet at all, those changes that do add up every day, day after day, were part of what turned into huge results for her. So a few examples were, instead of not paying attention to the fat content of the meat, because trust me, when people aren't thinking about weight loss, they often don't pay attention to the fat content in meats. So whenever she started going to the grocery store just to pick up, let's say ground chicken, ground turkey, ground beef, she started really paying attention to what the fat content was, and she would get a leaner cut of meat in the ground meat, and she would use this for her recipes. That's something that makes a huge difference, because for a lot of people, the cut of meat that you choose, it's going to make a huge difference in your fat intake, which is going to make a huge difference in your calorie intake. So without following a really strict diet, making that one small system change makes a huge difference. Secondly, instead of maybe buying random vegetables or not buying vegetables, she started buying pre-chopped vegetables. So her system was to be ultra convenient and set herself up for success, which it worked. It did set her up for success. And then there were other changes she made in terms of carbs. She didn't follow a really low carb diet, but she did really cut sugar in terms of, she replaced regular soda with a stevia sweetened soda called Zevia, which I recommended. And she, in general, cut out sugar a lot by replacing it with stevia. So that's another great thing to do, is instead of saying no sweets, nothing that tastes good, you just find that setting switch where you can still eat the way you want, have balance, but you've switched out an ingredient that makes it a lot healthier. So it's a system change instead of a diet mentality, which tends to not last for people. And then also in terms of carbs, she made some other switches with carb quick baking mix instead of regular flour, almond flour instead of regular flour. And believe it or not, she was not much of a cook before she started this weight loss journey, but getting interested in exercise, nutrition, and her own health actually turned her into much more of a home cook. And that is common among many of my clients. So the thing that I wanted to really focus on today that I hope you take from it is the idea of systems, that someone who had tremendous weight loss success would self-report that she did not follow a diet and she wasn't cutting out a lot of food. She just made these changes. They gave her body what it needed, helped her feel good, and gave her a lot more balance while she could still enjoy foods that she really liked. And that's what I want for all my clients, is that they can ditch the diet mentality that, if you're gonna be losing weight, you're gonna have to be eating these really bland, restrictive meals. And instead, she just found balance and enjoyment just by making some smart, strategic choices in her systems, because those small choices really add up.